Lesson 1. I believe that inside every one of us lives an inner world. It is where our connection to spirit, to the unseen, to nature, can thrive and expand in ways we never thought possible. I call this space the heart center, the portal to the other realm. And for me, and many I have worked with, this place is not made up, and it's not symbolic in the way the mind tries to label things. It is real, it is alive, it is felt, it is intuitive, and it exists beneath the noise of thoughts and beneath the reactivity of patterns. Your heart center is the terrain of your spirit, a part of you that can see clearly, feel deeply, and can discern between truth and lies, ego versus soul, fear versus the facts. It is the realm beneath your conditioning, beneath survival mode, beneath patterns of behavior that you created to protect you at one time in your life. Patterns that often disconnect you to the truth of who you are. This heart center is a meeting place between your human experience and your spiritual self. It is here you can learn and feel walking between the worlds of your humanity and your divinity. When you enter into this space, I want to invite you to not create a story around imagining something or making something up. I want to invite you to consider that when you cross this threshold into your great within, that your deepest clarity is becoming accessible, that your deepest knowing is showing itself to you. The heart center is the place where everything begins and everything returns inside of this work. And using vision to hear its wisdom is what I'm going to teach you and guide you through. Now, visioning is not always about seeing in the literal sense. It is about allowing imagery, sensation, and symbolic language to rise from within you. When you enter your heart center through visioning, you might find yourself standing in a desert, at the end of the ocean, inside a forest, or a cave. You may have a very literal visual process. And you might be someone who sees in colors, textures, shapes, energies. You might be someone who sees in symbols. And for some of you, the experience won't be quote unquote visual at all. You may feel the landscape, sense its presence, or simply know that something is there without seeing anything in your mind's eye. All of these experiences are valid. All of these experiences are visioning. They are not random, and they are not just imagination. However, wasn't our imagination at one time our purest source of experiencing life? I believe when we are children, we have the closest access to our life force and divine selves. Before knowledge, domestication, the stories that we've created about who we are in the world around us, we were living experientially, and we were living more presently. And this practice is a return to a simpler way of connecting by closing your eyes, breathing, and going within. When you use visioning, you begin to see the language of your spirit versus your psyche, the way that your heart communicates with you that the mind cannot. While the mind tells stories, often recycled and rooted in fear, in memory, and trauma, and old patterns, the heart reveals truth. And truth is often wordless. It's that inner knowing. And while it's wordless, it's also unmistakable when you feel it, when you hear it, and when you see it. The mind reacts to life. The heart reveals. The mind relies on what it has known right up until this moment, while the heart opens to what is possible. The more you work inside of this symbolic landscape through vision, the more your inner world begins to shift. It begins to change your mind. You start to form new neural pathways, new ways of sensing your emotions, engaging with your patterns, regulating your nervous system, and relating to your own personal truth. This is why visioning is the main tool that we use in this course, because it bypasses the mind's defenses and it brings you straight into the heart of your own transformation, your own inner world and knowing. It is the doorway that you will use to navigate walking between the worlds. And I want to ground this into something very practical, because this isn't just a beautiful idea, it is a lived experience. And I want you to understand how this inner world actually supports you in your day-to-day life, in your healing and coming into a deeper connection and relationship to yourself and the spiritual practice of your belief and choosing. So let's look at the heart center as not an idea or a metaphor, but a practical, functional anchor for your emotional healing and growth, and your nervous system regulation, which is a huge part of us feeling connected to our intuition and to spirit, is when we have learned how to work with our body and our nervous system. So I'm going to go over the 7 main ways that this inner world connection actually supports you. 1, it helps shift you out of the mind and into presence. So visioning can pull you out of spiraling thoughts, old patterns, and reactivity, and allows for a sacred pause that brings you fully into now, right in the moment, which is really the only place that real transformation and alchemy can happen. 2, it soothes and regulates your nervous system. So entering your heart center through imagery, through breath, through the closing of your eyes, the sensations signal safety to your body. And a regulated body can receive truth in a way that the dysregulated one can't. 3, it reveals truth that the mind cannot access. So visioning will actually help you learn to bypass the mental story and leads you directly into clarity that often surprises you. It shows you what is actually real for you beneath fear. 4, it strengthens your intuition. The more consistently you enter your inner landscape, the more easily you sense what is aligned for you, what helps you discern between fear and that gut-felt sense of truth. 5, it gives you access to guides and inner allies. So guides don't appear through force, thought, or effort. They appear when you step into your inner landscape with openness and curiosity, and you ask to be shown. You ask, who is here to support me? Some of your guides you may feel and see as very real and outside of you. Ancestors, loved ones who have passed, guides that are meeting you from other realms. And, or you may experience these guides as archetypes, as parts of you. Sometimes it's your inner child who shows up. Sometimes it's your higher self. It is here you create a relationship, a living, breathing relationship with these parts and with spiritual support. 6, it allows you to meet and heal your deepest parts. Through visioning, connecting to your inner children, your protectors, your shadows, your unmet emotions, these parts of self become visible in a safe place that feels approachable and tenable. 7, it creates embodied change, not just ideas. Every visioning practice that you engage in rewires you. It builds new neural pathways that support new behavior, new perception, and new ways of relating to yourself and the world around you. So through this inner practice, you're training your system to live from truth instead of story, from presence instead of reactivity, and from soul instead of ego and conditioning. This is the work of the heart. And so when you enter your heart center, when you see it and experience it as a portal, as a place that you actually can go, you are not escaping your life. You're not checking out, and you're not spiritual bypassing. You're learning a new way to relate to your experiences differently, and you're learning to meet yourself from a deeper layer of spiritual truth. And so for many of you, this might feel very unfamiliar because you're used to living in the mind, practicalities, and needing to understand everything and how it works. And that is okay. It's normal. It's how we all learn to engage with ourselves and the world around us. Tracking reactions, anticipating outcomes, replaying stories, searching for certainty. These are all ways that we've learned to try to keep ourselves safe and our nervous system soothed. So while the mind is brilliant and we need discernment and it helps us in our day-to-day, it's not necessarily where this bigger transformation and perception shift and connection can happen. The mind can analyze, judge, predict, and remember, but again, this practice is about discovering your own truth, your authenticity, and really deepening and creating a container that supports you in your relationship to yourself. The heart can regulate you. The breath, the vision can regulate, can soothe, and can evolve you beyond the patterns that the mind knows. So the heart offers an entirely different type of intelligence. It's embodied, intuitive wisdom. It's also where you can deeply connect to your spiritual gifts. And it will speak to you, as I've mentioned, through the images or the sensations, the symbols or the energy. And you will learn your heart's own language. And if you can give yourself permission to trust what you see, instead of trying to force yourself to believe, you are going to have an embodied experience. It's going to become familiar, this place that you start returning to. And how it becomes familiar is that you are going to see, sense, feel. When you start going within, you start returning to the same places and experiences. There's a part of you that's aching for you to return home. And you don't have to try to see anything. This really isn't about effort and making yourself have an experience, which is very common and normal for the human mind. It wants to get as much as it can out of the experience. But you came into this world with connection, and connection you have. So one of the intentions I would love for you to anchor into as your journey here with me is giving yourself the space to allow and receive. To allow whatever your experience is to be, and to receive from me. To receive any words, any of the meditation journeys, but to just let them wash over you. That you can rest and surrender and trust that you are going to pick up on exactly what you need to pick up on. Even if you fall asleep and you only grasped and remembered one thing, that is all you needed. This first lesson is about expanding your thought process, asking yourself to have an open heart and an open mind, asking yourself to explore this connection that has always been a part of you. You might be deeply connected to this space now already, and this might be brand new. Wherever you are is welcome, because the space always exists as you navigate the spiral path. Your heart is always waiting for you. And a big part of this work and my intention is to help you navigate walking between the worlds. We aren't always going to live in this space, and the mind can help us access knowledge and intuition that is helpful for us before we get into the heart. So before we go on a journey, I would love to invite you to do some journaling and some reflection. So you can pause this after every question if you would like. And a very important invitation is to do this from a place of compassionate curiosity. You are gathering data, not judging yourself, not trying to figure yourself out. You are stepping into awareness. Question number 1. How do I experience connection to my heart, intuition, or spirit right now? Question number 2. How does my mind currently try to protect me in my life? Through stories, fears, beliefs, or old conditioning, how does my mind disconnect me to my spirit, divine self? Question number 3. How would it feel to have a place within myself to go to seek answers, uncover truths, and connect to all that is here to support me? Let these reflections be a gentle opening, noticing what begins to shift inside of you or come into awareness. The act of reflecting softens the mind's grip. You innately go deeper within yourself. You don't have to change or do anything in this moment. Just become aware of how you are in relationship to yourself, your mind, and your spirit right now. In the next lesson, we'll step into the heart center together, and you'll begin your journey of accessing your inner landscape, sensing the world within you, and meeting the deeper parts of yourself that have been waiting to be heard. I'll see you in lesson 2.